You step onto the frozen driveway. A massive 12-pound goose stands on the icy concrete, completely unbothered by the heavy thermodynamic drain. As you walk, it falls indirectly behind your knee. It ignores your spouse. It violently lunges at the dog. It only follows you. Most assume this is just a cute pet showing affection. Instead, it is a permanent biological override. This apex bird has chemically hardwired your exact kinetic signature into its sensory radar, claiming you as the absolute anchor of its survival map. Stay to the end. The final physiological shift it makes when you leave its line of sight reveals the terrifying depth of this bond. Number 1. The biomechanical lock. Most people assume a goose recognizes you the way a dog does, through a generalized sense of smell and a broad understanding of your face. They think the bird simply remembers who fills the feed bucket and decides to follow that person out of a basic desire for calories. The reality is that the bird has executed a permanent neurological restructuring called filial imprinting, and it is entirely based on a highly specific kinetic tripwire. When a gosling hatches, its brain is a blank, highly receptive matrix. The first massive, moving object it interacts with during a critical 48-hour window does not just become a companion. It becomes the exact center of gravity for the bird's entire existence. But the bird doesn't imprint on your face. A goose's visual acuity processes information at a drastically faster frame rate than a human's. It actively imprints on the exact physics of your movement. It locks onto the biomechanical rhythm of your gait, the specific slope of your shoulders when you carry a bucket, and the distinct, asymmetrical way your knees bend when you walk across the yard. This is why the bird can spot you from 300 yards away in a crowded park, yet violently rejects your spouse who is wearing your exact same winter coat. Your spouse's coat matches, but their kinetic signature fails the biometric scan. The bird is running a continuous, high-speed visual analysis, and your specific physical movement is the only password that disables its natural defense mechanisms. What this tells you about the goose in your yard is this: it didn't choose to love you. Its neurochemistry physically hardened around the exact physics of your stride. Number 2. The acoustic radar. Most people think geese just honk to make noise or to blindly announce their presence to the neighborhood. They assume the constant, low-level grunting and hissing the bird does while walking behind you is just passive animal chatter. It is actually a highly sophisticated, continuous sonar ping operating within a distributed neural network. In a wild setting, a flock of geese operates as a single, massive sensory organism. They use constant, low-frequency contact calls to map the exact physical location of every member in the flock without having to look at them. Because your goose has imprinted on you, it treats you as the central node of its network. When it walks behind you, emitting those quiet, rhythmic murmurs, it is not talking to you. It is running a continuous sensory radar. It expects your footsteps, your breathing, and the specific acoustic frequency of your voice to provide a return signal. It is verifying your coordinates in real time. If you suddenly stop talking, or if you walk softly on the grass instead of the gravel, the bird instantly raises its head, its heart rate spikes, and it issues a louder, sharper ping to reestablish the connection. The bird is biologically incapable of casual strolling. It is running a localized, highly intense military patrol, and its entire acoustic mapping system is calibrated exclusively to the sound of your mass moving through the environment. Number 3. Apex aggression and the exclusion zone. Most people assume that if a goose likes you, it should logically tolerate the other people and animals you live with. They think the bird understands the human concept of a family unit and simply feels a little jealous when the dog gets too close. A goose does not experience jealousy. It calculates threat, and it executes apex aggression to eliminate it. You are not a friend to this bird. You are the absolute core of its biological map, a moving piece of vital geography that must be protected at all costs. When your spouse walks toward you, or when the dog runs across the lawn, the goose does not see a family member. It registers a hostile entity breaching the critical perimeter of its primary resource. The physiological response is instant and violent. The goose lowers its long neck parallel to the ground to reduce its physical profile, unhinges its serrated bill, and charges. It isn't just trying to scare the intruder. A goose is heavily armored megafauna. It will violently strike with the bony carpal spurs located on the joints of its massive wings, delivering blunt force trauma perfectly capable of bruising bone while simultaneously biting and twisting flesh. It will aggressively attack a 60-pound predator simply because that predator stepped within a 6-foot radius of your legs. What this tells you about your yard is this: you have not domesticated the bird. You have inadvertently weaponized it against everything in your environment that isn't you. Number 4, the mobile territory. Most people assume a bird's territory is a fixed physical location. They believe the goose defends the pond, the barn, or the specific patch of grass where its food bowl sits. For a bonded goose, the territory is not a place. The territory is you. Geese possess ancient, hardwired territorial instincts designed to defend large, static bodies of water and nesting grounds from rival flocks. But because of the biological override of its imprinting, this massive bird has compressed its wild, spatial instincts entirely into human infrastructure, anchoring them directly to your physical body. When you walk from the garage to the mailbox, the territory dynamically shifts with you. The goose is actively running a perimeter defense around your moving form. It scans the sky for hawks. It watches the tree line for coyotes. And it aggressively holds the driveway against the mail carrier. It treats a 10-foot radius around your body as the absolute center of its nesting ground, regardless of whether you are standing in the kitchen, on a frozen golf course, or in a corporate parking lot. It has taken the wild, aggressive mapping software of a migratory dinosaur and applied it directly to your morning chore routine. The bird isn't following you to see where you are going. It is following you because in its mind, it is actively escorting the territory itself across a hostile landscape. I've saved this one for last because it belongs last. The bond between a human and an imprinted goose is not a light, casual relationship. It is an overwhelming, crushing biological tether, and you only see the true weight of it the exact moment you break it. You know the exact sequence. You spend an hour working in the yard with the bird walking perfectly in step behind you. The quiet, rhythmic contact calls, anchoring the two of you together. Then you step up onto the porch, open the heavy front door, walk inside, and close the glass behind you. Most people assume the bird simply shrugs it off, realizes the interaction is over, and casually goes back to eating grass. It doesn't. The moment the heavy door clicks shut and your kinetic signature vanishes from its visual feed, the bird's internal map completely fractures. You are not looking at a pet that misses you. You are looking at a super predator experiencing a localized physiological crisis. The bird immediately abandons its food. It marches directly to the glass door. Its heart rate elevates. It presses its heavy chest against the pane, staring into the dark interior of your house, emitting a loud, frantic, piercing distress call that echoes across the entire neighborhood. It is broadcasting an emergency signal to a distributed neural network of one. It will stand on the freezing concrete for hours, refusing to forage, completely ignoring the thermodynamic drain on its body, burning vital calories it desperately needs for the winter, purely to reestablish the visual link with its biological anchor. You look through the glass at this massive, ancient animal standing on your porch, heavily armed and entirely fearless of the wild world behind it, yet completely paralyzed by your absence. You realize in that quiet moment that you haven't tamed a bird, You have been assimilated into the flock matrix of a dinosaur. And until you step back outside and trigger that kinetic tripwire once again, the bird is biologically incapable of moving on.